You can't expect big gains or big improvements from putting in little work. You should put in the maximum amount of work or more work than you need to, and expect a small gain or a small improvement. Like I'm putting in all this work just to PR by a second or less than a second. Whereas some guys might approach it as, oh, I'm going to put in the bare minimum, but I'm still going to expect to PR by 5 seconds, and that's not how it works.
Hello and welcome to the Endurance Lab podcast. My name is Dr. Bill Evans, professor of exercise science, and this podcast covers the physiology and science of the most elite runners on the planet. Today's podcast is a conversation with Mr. Trent McFarland, who's the fastest runner in the 1500 this year in the NCAA at the University of Michigan, which he defines as mid-DU. Some of the things we talk about is his race tactic, or how he breaks down the 1500 meter, which is particularly important in a race that can often be mentally grueling and result in a lot of anxiety. He also talks about some of the specific thoughts that he uses during the race, and as always, he's going to give us some of his favorite and least favorite workouts. This podcast is brought to you by Dr. Ben Moxness. I'm at his home here in Nebraska. If you haven't done so yet, make sure to listen to our other podcast episodes, as we're starting to get up there in episodes at this point. If you're interested in being coached, you can apply online at EnduranceLaboratory.com, or you can reach out on my Instagram, Dr._Evans_running. Hope you enjoy the episode. Hello and welcome to the Endurance Lab podcast. Today, as I said, I'm joined by Trent McFarland. Trent, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, it's a real pleasure. So you've had yourself quite the year already. You were down here in Raleigh recently, and you freaking ripped in your 15. So, like, leading up to that race, sorry, I'm just diving in if that's okay with you. All right, we'll do some small talk chit chat too. But leading into that race, were there any workouts that you were like, oh my gosh, like this is the one, I know I'm ready to run super fast? Or were you just kind of like, I kind of know based on indoor?
I guess it was more so from indoor. It was kind of a weird kind of place in our training. Raleigh was. We weren't really sure if I even had to run it. We kind of coming off indoors. I sat down with my coach and we talked about like, how do you feel coming out of indoor? Like, do you feel fit enough to go race in like a week and a half or whatever it was? So we took a couple of days like down after NCAAs, and we just decided to go for it. And I wanted to just bang out a regional mark real quick, and we expected to not really run as fast as I did, I think, but I mean it was not out of the realm of possibility to go out there and run that fast. But there was definitely a couple of workouts indoors that we did, and we were like, okay, we're fit at the end of the season to go and run a time. And that's why it was a little disappointing to fall short at NCAAs, because I felt I was better than third, but it is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, you kicked off your indoor season. Let's see here. I'm looking at your results here. But on January 30th or 31st, you ran 3:52 at Arkansas.
Yeah.
Like, was that okay, let's talk about when you broke 4 for the first time. So, when you break 4 for the first time, inevitably that's a moment of like, holy crap. So last year you ran 3:58 at Boston. But let's see, when did you break 4 for the first time?
It was that same year, like a couple weeks prior. I did at the home meet.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, you break 4, and now not only you're breaking 4, but you're more than a few seconds under 4. Like you could drop yourself in a race with Cole Hawker, Cam Myers, Ollie Hoare, whoever you want to say, right? Some of the best milers on the planet, and you're going to hang with them as a junior in college. Like, tell me a little bit about what that's like mentally for you to be like, okay, I'm a sub 4 miler as of last year, and now I'm running 3:52. Like, that's got to be a little. Does that occur to you how fast that is?
No, I mean, it's a little surreal, like, especially, like when I broke 4 last year indoors, it was, even that was like kind of, it wasn't like unexpected, but it was kind of like, okay, like, wow, like I really just broke 4. And then going to this year, it's like you're disappointed if you just only break 4. Like you have to shoot for even lower, like shoot for 350. So yeah, when I went and ran 352 at Arkansas, and like I'm not sure if you watched that race or not, but the last lap I kind of just ran away with it, and it seemed like I had a lot more left, and all my teammates when I got home were like what were you doing? You could have ran 350. And I'm like, yeah, it looks like that on camera, but I was hurting pretty bad. But no, I did think I had a little bit left in the tank, so I'm at a spot where I think I can run 350 or lower. So yeah, it's good, but it definitely is surreal. It definitely hasn't like set in that I can be in a race with Olympians or whatever, and I can hang with them and stuff. So I definitely think I can, but it's just a weird to think about that because a year ago I was only running 358. So
only running 358. And I think too, like I'm sure there are moments where you come through your 800 split and you're like, holy crap, I just split, I don't know, like 155, 156. And this is a mile, and I'm coming through, 808 or 800 or whatever in only a few seconds off my 800 PR. When the first time you started to do stuff like that, what did that feel like physically for you? And have you ever gone out in a mile where you're like, oh crap, like I got out over my skis. This is going to be a rough last 800.
I think I definitely have. I don't know. For me, I kind of break it down like the first 600 is like a big point for me. So like Arkansas, I kind of had like a time to key off of where I was like, okay, if I can be anywhere from like 124 to 126 at like 600, I'm in a good spot. I know I'm out hard enough to run a fast time, but there's definitely been times where I'm at 800 and I'm running. I mean, I could go through 808 and 158 and I would feel like crap. And sometimes I go through 808 and 155 and I feel amazing. So it's just like, you never really know. So like some of those races where I've had my big breakthroughs, I don't even worry about the time. I'm just going out there and I know if I'm in a good spot to win the race, no matter how fast it is, the time will come. And that's something that we have like talked about with our group, and especially like me and Sully have talked about. Like that was the goal for Arkansas, was just go in and win, because the competition was so high that no matter what place you get, if you're just going for that, or sorry, no matter what time you run, if you're going for that win, the time will be there. So yeah, we were going to be happy with it regardless.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that is 100% the case where, and I've tried to encourage the kind of like younger runners, because I was a part of a group in DC where I felt like everything was a time trial. And, I was just on the phone with someone last night about this. But when you're so obsessed with time and focused on time, you can't even enjoy the moment. Like you can't even, there's something great about being in a good race and being competitive and thinking about how you're going to engage with the race and with people around you, that it just brings the best out of you and you don't need to worry about the time. And I think there's so many young runners, especially now with the NCAA, like making roster cuts and, things are just more competitive now to even get a spot on a D1 team. It's like they're so time conscious. And it's, I don't know, I feel like it's a bummer because you said it yourself. Like you feel like your best races are when you just get to go and compete, because it takes the onus off the time. It's like, just go race and just like whatever happens, happens.
No, I agree. Like some of my most memorable and like favorite races I've been in are races that are slow. Like there's high school guys running those times. Like Big Tens this year was 4:11. Big Tens last year was I don't even know 4:07 I think, or even no 4:03 I think it was in the final. But like we're running 4 flat in the prelim. Like we're not even breaking 4. Like the races like that where it's so slow that everyone can be in the race, and you just have to be perfect with your tactics. You can't make mistakes, and you have to be really conscious about every move you make and what you're doing in the race, and that just brings out the competitiveness in everyone, and it brings out the best in everyone being able to compete that closely. And those are my favorite races for sure. Just everyone's in it. But people that watch track don't like those races very much, but that kind of makes me happy, just seeing them all be angry about us running so slow in college. And it's just like,
well, it's interesting. I probably 10 years ago would have said the same thing. I'm like, oh, like championship racing is so boring. But I think when you know what people are capable of, because you will have meets where someone's going to take it and it's going to be fast because it's someone's strategy to get out hard because they know maybe they don't have the kick or whatever. And then you see them perform well. It makes those tactical races more interesting. Now, I think there's times when certain people win in those tactical races where it's like, God, like that's not what I wanted to see. But at the same time, it's like, well, at the same time, that it's still fun to watch them kick down like a 23, 24 second last 200 and just cook the last 400, that's like, that's still exciting. It's a different,
I agree.
It's more of it's more of a build. It's like watching the 4x4,
Yeah. And even like NCAA's this year, like I think a lot of people probably picked Gary to win, or they probably picked me to win, or they probably picked George Tweedy to win, but not many people probably thought of Carter to be able to get it done. And I mean, he just raced flawlessly. So that's what happens when you put yourself in the position and you're in the front in a semi-tactical race. I mean, we ran like 3:58 or whatever it was. So like he was well, and so he deserves to get the win, and he executed. So I think that's what it's about. It's not just about in a fast race, the fastest guys win. I mean, there's not many times where an underdog can have a chance if it's just wire to wire super fast. So the races that are a little slower and everyone's in it, it becomes anyone's race, and that's when the crazy moments happen.
Yeah. And I think it's so compelling too, because you think back to high school where everyone's just like running so aggressive all the time. Like high schoolers are so fearless. They'll just go out and just like crash and burn. Like watching high school state meets is probably some of the most fun things for me, because you just see some crazy stuff. I mean, you obviously have like your elite guys that take it out and they hammer, but then you've got some like B tier guys, C tier guys. Like I was probably a D tier guy, and I'm just putting it on the line, going out with the leaders, and then you get to the third lap and you're just in slow motion.
Yeah.
And like so in championship racing at the college level, it feels like there's more tension the whole way. And eventually the pack pulls away, right? It's still compelling. So I want to come back to something you talked about. You talked about how you're like, I get to the 600, I try and go through it like 124 to 126. So I'm training for an old man's mile. I'm trying to get back in mile shape for craps and giggles. And so I'm like thinking through the mental framework of running a mile again, which is, dude, it's such a brutal event. I don't care what anyone says. I think the mile is the hardest event to race. I'd rather race an 800 40 times over.
Yeah. I agree.
I just like an 800 is just like, you get through 400, you stay locked in and engaged for the next 150 meters, and then you just slog yourself to the line, just drag whatever you have left. There's not much you can think about. It's just kind of like is what it is. But in a mile, there's enough time to kind of have some threatening thoughts of, oh my gosh, I'm only in lap 2, or I'm only at 600. I think the 600 is sometimes the hardest, because you're like, I'm not even halfway through and my hamstrings are already starting to burn a little bit. Like I'm feeling it in my triceps. Like I've 1K to go.
Yeah. So
what's some things that you think about, or tactics that you use, or ways you even break up the race? Like you said, like, oh, I get to 600, what's going through your head next?
I think for the 15, it's definitely, I want to like make sure I stay focused on that next like lap and a half. Another 600. So the first 600 gets there, and I'm 124, 126, whatever it is. And I want to make sure that I'm in a good spot. So for me, it's all about positioning. I want to make sure that I'm, whether it's behind the pacer, or if I have to make some moves to get up to the pace I want to be at, or the position I want to be at. I think that's the time to start making moves. Is you want to kind of get in that position so that when you make your kick, you don't have to be fighting for position on your kick. You just go. Mm-hmm. That next 600 is all about movement for me. Recently, like I've just been in the front the entire time, so I haven't had to move, and sometimes I like that too. So I just focus for the first 1200, and then I kick, and I don't have to worry about positioning. Yeah, for me, that next part, I just focus on position. I don't worry about like how my body feels. Yeah, I think those, just like thinking too much about things you can't control. Like you can't make your body magically feel better in the middle of the race, so there's no reason to worry about it. Yeah, I think you just gotta go for it. And another thing that like I tell myself in the race, like it's always a thought that creeps up, is like, I mean, would you rather just hurt for a couple more minutes and then you can be happy about it when you're done, or would you rather give up right now and lose the race, and then you have to worry about it for way longer down the line, thinking about, oh, what if, like, yeah, you just gotta fight through the adversity and just know that the the embrace after you achieve what you want to achieve is worth the pain in the moment. So just getting through the hard times in the middle of the race is the most important part. And then once you get to after that 600, in the 15 you got 300 meters to go. So that last 300, you kind of just go. There shouldn't be any thoughts in your head. There shouldn't be any doubts
Drive
left.
your arms.
Yeah, you just gotta move your arms quick and just go for it.
Yeah. That's such a good point. And I think it's so interesting to hear some of the like elite runners like yourself talk about what goes through their head because, and I've said this before, for sub-elite runners like myself or even recreational runners or whoever you are, there's always going to be these threatening thoughts of this hurts right now. I don't know if I can keep doing this. Or even before the race, they're like, this is going to hurt so bad. I don't want to. Or, what if I can't do this? What if I can't do that? What if my arms die at this? What if the first 400 hurts? What if the last 400 hurts? What if I get locked in? What if I can't ride the rail? What if the weather's not good? There's just so many thoughts of like, what if this, what if that? And it's good to hear elite runners like yourself say things like, that still happens to me. It's just that I'm more focused on the outcome and on what I can control than on what I can't. And I loved when you said, you can't make your body feel better. I tried to tell someone this in a talk I gave recently. Like, your physiology is fixed. It is what it is on that day. You're not gonna do something outside of what your body can do. I think sometimes there's this idea that in running you can just mentally tough your way out and work your way around stuff. And I don't really think that's how it works. And there's enough studies to show that by and large, people replicate their performance based on their physiology. There are some circumstances where that doesn't happen, but when your VO2 max is a certain value and your threshold is a certain value and you've run workouts that suggest you can run a certain time, if you give it enough chances, you will run that time because that is where your physiology is at. Like if I said, hey, Trent, I want you to go do 8x400 with a minute, you're going to be like, all right, well, I'm going to run that in 56 or something, 57, 56, I'm assuming. Did I guess your splits right?
Yeah, that's what I would go for. Yeah, 56 high.
See, I can be your coach. No. That's always a workout I come back to because it's the most like simple indicative workout of a miler. It's like, if you want to test your workout, do that workout, take your 4 slowest 400s. That's your mile time. The point of just hearing you talk about, like, I still have these thoughts, but I just focus on the feeling of finishing and getting to that last 300 because then you just turn the brain off and run. I always tell people to just run dumb. Don't think, just run, just go and compete. And if you don't have a good day, whatever. Like Jack Daniels said, there's no such thing as a fluke good performance, but there are fluke bad ones.
Yeah.
And that's what I try and tell people is you're going to have bad days, but you're also going to have really good days. Like, I'm sure you've had a bad day before. Like, do you have a race in mind where you're like, oh, that was a bad one?
Yeah, I think the one that comes to mind for me that we kind of joke about a lot at practice is last year opener outdoor. I ran a 1500 and I actually ran slower in the 1500 than what I ran in the mile. So I ran 352, I think 0.8 or something. And I just ran 352.7 indoors this year for the full mile. So that's like one where we joke around about at practice with the guys, are just saying like, I mean, I'm one of the best in the NCAA and I can still have bad days. I lost to, I think 5 of my teammates on that day. And then I went and got 11th at NCAAs, and then this year I got 3rd at NCAA. So it's like you can have bad days. Not everyone can be perfect every single day, but it's just how you learn from those bad days and how you continue moving forward, and you don't lose your motivation, you don't lose your confidence. You have to just battle through that and just understand that my head wasn't in the right space and you had a bad day, so it is what it is.
Yeah, it's like move on. And it's so funny you brought that exact example. When you started to say it, I was like, oh, I've done that before. When you run your mile time in your 1500, it's like, son of a gun, man. That is not a good feeling. And you're going to do it at like the 3rd lap because you're like, oh man, I know where I'm at in space. I know where I should be. I'm going to finish this hard. It may not be my day. But I had a race where I ran 4:17 in a 1500, and then 10 days later I ran 4:17 in a mile. And it was just like, how is that even possible? Like, how can you have a dispersion of finishing a race 100 meters ahead of where you were at last time?
Yeah.
So it's good to hear that that's even possible for immortals like yourself. Um, so I want to head to this next thing here. Michigan, University of Michigan, national champions in basketball. You all are ranked number one as the best 1500 and 800 school, right? I believe you posted something about that recently. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So, there's been some debate by some of the biggest names in the sport. Really just me. No. Tell me your sales pitch for why the University of Michigan is mid DU. Why are you guys mid DU? Other than the ranking, give me your sales pitch why you're better than anybody else in terms of middle distance performance.
I think it's comes down to our team, like the combination of our coaching and our athletes. Like everyone on our team in those groups knows what's expected of them, and they bring it every day in practice. Everyone's doing what they're supposed to be doing. And then we know in workouts what's expected of us and what we're here to accomplish, and we're not here to be mediocre, or we're not here to be number 2 or whatever number it is. Like we're here to be the best school in the country, and obviously that takes a full team, which is a lot harder than just a group of mid distance guys. But yeah, I just think it comes down to our guys and the mentality. You can't just throw someone else in our team and expect them to be good. You have to really understand how everyone ticks and how we work together. And I think our chemistry is the biggest thing for us. We all work well together. We joke around together. We have fun while we're doing stuff. It's not super serious. It's not military camp. I think it'd be funny if it was like that. I'd be fine with that as well. But at the end of the day, it's just running. It's fun for everyone, and you got to have fun with it. And winning is fun. So we approach practice like we're gonna win, and if you don't, then you learn from it, and then you can hopefully win in the future. But I think our team is full of some winners, and some of us have won big races, some of us haven't, and their time will come. So I just think, I think we're just a team of grinders. We put the work in, and we expect the results, and we're expecting more results. I think we still fly under the radar a little bit, so we're expecting to back it up a little bit more than we have previously. But we're still on an upward trend.
So how competitive are you guys in practice? I mean, you've talked about the team chemistry, and obviously you've got 3 guys at Raleigh that all went sub 340 by quite a bit in the 1500. And I asked Henry about this, and he kind of referenced your one teammate, and he's like, oh no, he talks smack to me all the time. Like we're frenemies. Just kind of gentle, friendly ribbing. But when you guys get into a workout, like I think I was watching your stride report, you had done, correct me if I'm wrong, but like a 1K, you opened in like 236, 237, and then you had, I forget how much rest, but then you ripped a 200 in like 27, then you had 3 or 4 minutes rest, and you did an 800, then a 200, 600, 200, 400, 200, and then you were supposed to close with a 3, but you guys allegedly ran a little too fast. Like that stuck out to me. I think it's so easy when you're in those types of groups to start to like race workouts a little bit. How do you guys balance the like, hey, we want to work together, we want to work hard, we want to push ourselves, but also we want to respect the workout, respect what coaches' plans are, respect the paces. Who's your governor, if you will? Like who's kind of reining you in, and is it your coach? Is it you?
Yeah, I think we're not super competitive in the sense that we're racing, but we definitely are competitive as in we want the best for everyone. Like I would say that I'm kind of the governor. Like I don't want people to be like, I usually have the fastest splits, so I'm usually the one that leads most of the reps. If we have some longer reps, like in that video, the 1K, I kind of started a little bit off the pack and I worked my way up. But then I led the 800, and I led I was in the top group for the 600. I led the 400. So it's just like things like that. I'm kind of the governor, where I kind of make sure people don't go too fast. I'm usually the one that is hitting the pace. Some guys go too fast, and then they'll hear from me because I want to make sure the work's quality. I don't want to be getting to the end of the workout and knowing that I went too fast early on, and then I'm cooked for the last reps that are still important to the entire workout.
Yeah.
So I would say I'm probably the governor, but it definitely is competitive in the sense that we just want the best for everyone in the group, and we want to make sure that people are doing the right things and doing things the right way when they do them. So I would say that, yeah, I'm kind of like the leader of the group. I think I kind of should be. So I kind of have to step up to that role and embrace it.
Yeah. So how did you set the like culture there, or how did that culture come to be?
I think it started with probably the guy before me. So Nick Foster was at Michigan before me, and he was a great miler, had the school record in the mile, 3:54. So I was a freshman, and
Yours?
Yeah, well, now it's mine, but yeah, when I was a freshman, he was a senior. So just seeing how he like went about his training and just all the things that I could see that he did to get to where he was. Like he was a all American and school record holder or whatever. So he just like looking at how he ticks and really just understanding what it takes to be an elite athlete, and then coming in with younger guys behind me and just being like, oh, like this is how we're gonna do things because this is how I've seen it be successful with other guys, and I want to set a good example, and I think I can be one of the top guys in the country. So if you're gonna train with me, then this is how we're gonna do things. And then I just think people see how I do things, and they learn from me the same way. So they see that I'm achieving and performing at a high level, so they want to mimic that. And I think that's like, I talked with Henry a lot over the summer when he was just first coming in. We were at camp, and he was kind of trying to like pick my brain and figure out like how I got so good, and that was before I even ran 3:52 or whatever. Yeah, it's just about learning. You got to learn from your coaches and learn from your upperclassmen, and just take little things from everybody and then put them all to one, and you should come out of that better than where you started. And I think that's what everyone's done here.
Yeah. So when you talk about those like little things or the specifics, what are some like very specific things that you're like, hey, we don't do that, or conversely, hey, this is a priority for us on this day? Or I'm imagining that it might be sleep or diet or supplements or whatever. So what are some of the little things that you're talking about when it comes to culture that you're maybe a little bit more of a stickler about?
I think for me, like the very biggest one, it's not like it's a pretty big like training one, but it's just like integrity, like just doing things the right way. So there's no shortcutting it. Like you can't. I was running with one of my teammates the other day, and we were talking about we were just talking through things, and we were talking about how you can't expect big gains or big improvements from putting in little work. You should put in the maximum amount of work or more work than you need to, and expect a small gain or a small improvement. Like I'm putting in all this work just to PR by a second or less than a second. Whereas some guys might approach it as, oh, I'm going to put in the bare minimum, but I'm still going to expect to PR by 5 seconds. And that's not how it works. Yeah, I guess integrity for me is a big thing. So everyone knows that there's a right way to do things and a wrong way to do things. And that comes down to just listening to coach and how he wants us to approach a workout or a training week or whatnot. So that's a big one for me. And then I guess another one is just like sleep. Yeah, is a good one. Like everyone knows like what you should be doing. You shouldn't be staying up all night goofing around. You shouldn't be going out and doing this or going out and doing that. Like I kind of set an example in that sense too. Like we'll have fun, and like we just won the national championship. Like people are gonna party. Like it's a college thing, but you got to know there's a good time and a bad time for that kind of stuff, and you kind of have to earn it. Like you have to, if I run good or if the team has a good performance, then we'll celebrate. Like that's just how it goes because we earned it. So yeah, those are just some things that I'm kind of a stickler about.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's true across the board in almost anything, but particularly in running. And I've talked about this before, and a lot of people maybe have kind of heard it and thought, if there's one, people have heard it and maybe thought like, all right, stop saying that same thing. But if there's one thing that I want people to know before I'm long gone and no one gives a rip about my podcast or Instagram, which nobody does right now anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
No, that's true.
But yeah, see, I'm fishing for compliments. Caught one. But no, I'm just kidding. But one of the things is that there's this asymptotic relationship between performance and effort or training. And I think the reason some people believe that they can just put the bare minimum work in and get better is because they had their newbie gains and they're really gifted, and they ran 30 miles a week and they ran 420 or 415 off of it. And they got better just because they hit puberty and they ran a little bit. And, they're in that kind of steep portion of the curve where anything that they do is going to make them better. And at some point you get to the other end of it where you're at, and it's like, I have to put in exponentially more work to get any change in performance. And that means doing all the little things right, doing your strength work, taking your supplements, going to sleep, not shortcutting workouts. Give you an example of that. Recently, I did some 4 sets of 5x300, and I do want to talk about your training, if you're okay with it. But also, I want to get Coach Sully on here. I don't think he'll do it. I DM'd him. He didn't get back to me. He left me on red. So this is his public.
No, he'll definitely do it. He needs to get himself out there a little bit more. He needs to.
Actually,
I don't want him to
crushing it
too much because he's gonna give away our secrets, but he can elaborate a little bit, hopefully.
Well, you keep doing those Stride reports, you're going to give all his secrets away anyways. But he, he's clearly figured something out with you guys. And I don't know, like you said, I don't know if it's culture. I don't know if it's, truthfully, I don't think there's any special sauce. I think it's that you guys run hard. From everything I've heard and seen, you run hard, you run a chunk of your race distance at race pace, and then you run faster. And you do that with progressively less rest in different forms, and it works. And I think sometimes we try and overcomplicate training. And it's just like, if you get progressively faster and you touch all the paces, you're going to get better, and you're just consistent. And maybe he'll say something different. I don't know. But he's done like an amazing job with you guys, because just to see all the performances, if Raleigh didn't put people on notice, I don't know what will. You guys cleaned house.
Yeah, hopefully Wake this week will be even better. We'll see.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting. I'm super irritated that I can't be there. This is the second time I've had to miss like a really big meet for some. I have a life. It's just the way it is. But so to finish my point, it makes sense. What you're describing is just a physiological phenomenon, that the better you get, the more work you're going to have to put in to get that next little bit better. And, you could probably do 80% of the work you're doing now and still run maybe 354, 355, but that's not where you want to be, right? You're trying to run 340, 349, 348, 346. And the fact that you're already talking about being locked in and focused, that's terrific. To finish my thought about, sorry, I have ADHD. If you don't know that, you'll figure it out. The 300s is, I had to do a 100-meter jog between each rep, and I had 30 seconds to finish it running like 3K pace for the reps. For me, I was running like 52s on the first set, 51s, 49s, 48s, with 30 seconds, 45 seconds, 60 seconds, 75 seconds. So at the end, I'm running faster than my current 1500 pace by probably quite a bit. And I'm doing these 100-meter jogs, and I'm like, I could just cut across the field. Like, I could cut, a solid few meters off of this. And I did it once and was like, I feel so guilty. I feel like I've cheated myself. And I think that's the exact thing you're talking about. Taking longer rest, instead of taking 2 minutes, you take 2:30 so that you run a sexier split and you put it on Strava and it looks better. But in reality, you're doing yourself a disservice, because the next time you go to do that workout and you have to, maybe you get to the same place in the workout, and now the last workout you ran 57 in that 400, and now you're expected to run 56, but you got to do it on 2 minutes. And now you're like, well, that's not going to work, because now you got to run faster with less rest, and that's because you were dishonest with yourself. So that's just like a good piece of training advice, that you need to be honest and practical and keep your log in an honest manner. Don't be fudging it. Don't be lying. Log manual runs. No, I don't know if you've ever seen people do that. It's like, I ran 100 miles this week. They were all manually loaded. There's no evidence.
No map. It was fake.
No map didn't happen, unless you got privacy, because I don't want you to know where I live.
Or if it's a treadmill. Treadmill can be a little iffy, though.
I like to see the little orange line, just little scribbles.
In one place.
Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit about your workout. So tell me. We'll kind of end it with 3 pieces. I want maybe 4 final questions. The first one is tell me about some of your, so we already talked about the I'll call it a 1K breakdown. I don't know what you guys want to call it, but what's some of your favorite workouts that you've done that kind of tells you, and they could be simple, that you're like, hey, I love this workout. It was really hard. It told me a lot about my fitness. Is there anything in particular that you're like, oh, I really like that?
Yeah, I think probably the most recent one would be trying to think of we did well, it didn't end up going so well, but it was on paper. It was panning out to be a good one. Is what we did a couple days ago. I think it was Saturday. We did 800 at like goal, like 1500 goal mile pace, and then 4 minutes rest. 2x600, at like a tad bit faster, and then
Okay.
those were about 4 minutes as well, and then closing 800 at the same pace as the beginning one.
Oh boy.
I was
Oh boy.
yeah, it's a big one. I was expected to go 155, 154 for the eights, and then 124 to 126 for the 600s. So yeah, we got off to a hot start. I like started behind the pack on the eight, worked my way up, like caught them, but ran 155. I was hoping for a 154, so I was a little bummed about that, but it is what it is. 1 second's not going to hurt anything. The effort was there.
Yeah.
And then the 600s went pretty good. I was 125 and 126, so like right in the range. And then this is where it started to get a little bad for everyone. We had some guys that did not make it to the start line of that last 800.
They were worshiping the grass gods thrown up in the field.
They were none of them were throwing up, but we had some laying down and whatever. So yeah, I mean, I made it to the start line, but I ran away.
Who was upset? Who was upset about? Was that like were people just upset because were they upset, or were you just like, ah, shoot, like this was harder than I thought it was going to be?
Yeah, I mean, no one was really upset. It was just kind of like Sully was looking at us, and he kind of he pulled a couple of guys from it. And it was like, you look like crap. I'm not gonna kill you on this last rep. But I thought I was good enough to run a 155 again, and so I lined up and came through like 127 mid and just closed it in 30 point and ran a 158. So that was not very good, but
it's marginally worse, man. You're trying to run let's see, what is that? That's your mile faster than current mile pace at the end of a really hard workout. So for half the race, it's like, yeah, that's going to be hard. So, and I feel too,
on paper it was a good workout. Yeah,
I really like that workout. So the rest was what again? It was 4 minutes after the 8. What was it after the 6s?
It was 4 for everything.
Oh, so you had pretty generous rest. So you're essentially running a massive dual meet. No. Would you say that that's a theme in your training? Kind of running these 600 to 800 type distances, maybe even up to a 1K at around mile pace with pretty generous rest? Or do you find yourselves, I know you guys do a lot of threshold work still, Henry kind of had talked about that, but do you find yourselves kind of bouncing between, hey, we're going to do these 400s on short rest and sets versus, hey, we're going to run some longer reps at mile pace with a little bit more generous rest, get used to running mile pace for, because for a longer distance like a 6 or an 8 or a 1K, because I think you can lie to yourself with 400s. I mean, I think we've all been there where you rip some 400s and you're like, oh my gosh, I can run this for a mile. But when you have to do it for any longer than 403 meters, it starts to kick in like, oh crap, like I got to run X more meters.
I think recently it's kind of become a trend. I think the past like 1 to 2 years we've done it a lot more. I think it kind of started with indoors last year. We started doing more like kind of like broken type stuff. So another one that comes to mind is one that I did by myself indoors last year was this was like my first big like confidence booster workout. It was I believe it was 633 by 3, 600, 300, 300, and just do that 3 times, and you're kind of cutting down in the reps. So yeah, I think it was like 600, then a minute, then 300 a minute, and then we had a big set rest after that first one, and then we just did that a couple times. Workouts like those we've kind of done a lot more. Me and Herger also had a really a quite insane one, I think, last year during outdoor season that we were wishing it was like we got one of those like track all access videos or whatnot so we could like show off our workout, but we did 642 by 3, and
oh boy, That's going to be fast. I don't
And
even want to.
yeah, it was a killer. I think
What was your rest?
I could pull it up off the top of my head. I don't remember the rest exactly, but
Do you remember the splits?
so yeah, 690 seconds rest, 460 seconds rest, 200, and then 7 minutes between the sets.
Oh, I love this. I love this so much. I love a good dirty. I call this like a dirty 12. I guess this would be what, like a dirty 1200. I love that.
Yeah,
So
this
what
is
was it?
So first set we kind of kept it pretty calm. We went 129.0, 59.0, 26
Okay.
low, 26.4.
Okay. All right.
And then we cut it down a pretty hefty amount. We went 126 high, 57 low, and then 26 low again, 26.4.
Okay.
And then the last set we kind of sent it. We went 123.
Yeah, you did.
123 high, 55 high, and then I packed it in on this 200. I was cooked. I went 29.0 closing, and then Herger, who I did it with, he went 26 on the last one.
Dude, that is a freaky workout. I mean, if you think about it, you effectively just ran basically three 1,500 races with 7 minutes rest broken up, so that you don't mentally crush yourself. That's awesome. Like that type of work is true the essence of mile work, and it's so hard, but when you do it right and you feel good, it is so satisfying. So that is those are fantastic. That's really impressive. I love the way Coach Sully writes these. Christian Hubaker works here at Elon University where I'm at. He was a 3K steepler at Michigan back in the day. And, he's kind of talked about some of the training that you guys have done and stuff. And when he talks about certain workouts, I'm like, good God, dude, like that would break me in half. But I think for people who aren't at that level, who might be listening, I think the thing to keep in mind is like, yeah, these times are super impressive. They're super fast. But the key is to kind of find something that is like, okay, that's your mile pace, right? It's a little bit faster than goal mile pace, or maybe it's somewhere between 800 and mile pace, so that people can kind of conceptualize this as, yeah, these times are crazy, but Trent's a 352 guy. So going and running 156, which is what, a 128, 127, I guess, in the 600 that's just a 600 at mile pace. Because it's easy to think like, oh my gosh, like how could I ever do that? And you probably can't if you're listening to this podcast. But if you break it up in your own paces, it's a lot more digestible. And I think too, to keep in mind that, and I've said this many times, that metabolism is constrained by time, not distance. So for you, you're running a 127, but somebody might be running a 140 something, and then they might be running a whatever for the other reps, to where they're not, they're running a 65 maybe on the 400. That's slightly longer, and that adds up across the board. And so sometimes you can't make a one-to-one comparison like we want to. But okay, last two things here, because I don't want to keep you any longer. But the last question, one of the last questions is about supplements. I know you talked about this in the Stride report, and Henry said he's got a pretty good supplement stack. He said he's got a 3-2-1 protocol where 3 hours out he takes beetroot juice, 2 hours out he takes caffeine, 1 hour out he takes bicarb. And this is actually a somewhat common protocol for people. I know you've started taking some kind of crazy beef organ pill. I don't even know what it was. I was like, that looks like, I don't know what is in that, but do you take a similar, and you take beta alanine as well, I know. Do you, like, what is your race day go to? What's your race day mix, if you're willing to share?
Yeah, for me, I kind of have I like that. I didn't know Henry had like it all figured out like that. That's kind of cool to think about. I don't have like a that detailed kind of breakdown, but I do have like kind of a superstition kind of thing that I do.
Well, now you do.
Yeah, I do. So yeah, I do Morton bicarb as well. I do it I try to do an hour 45 out, like right on the dot. Like I have to be like pretty perfect with it, or else I freak out about it.
Yeah, because you're worried you're gonna be locked in the porta potty.
Yeah, so that's one of them. I do an hour 45. I also do caffeine. I try to do it right before I leave for warm up, so that's like 50 minutes out from race day. And then my other supplements I kind of just take in the morning. They kind of just are just there to I just take them every morning anyways, regardless of what I'm doing. So they're kind of just always there regardless. But yeah, those are
Hmm.
like the two that I try to get pretty spot on, is like the 50 minutes out and the hour 45 are just like, those have to be like perfect for me. But
Hitting them on the money.
yeah, the beetroot though, I did used to do that in high school. I used to take my dad would make me drink this like sketchy like beetroot drink that he found on, I don't even know where he found it, but it would come in this can and it would just taste like I'm just gulping down
Drink
dirt.
drinking dirt. I was gonna say it always tastes like dirt. And then it turns your pee red, and then you're
Yeah,
nervous. You're like, "Whoa, did I do something?"
yeah. But no, no, I like it. I there's a lot of, I mean, there's a lot of science behind it. I'm sure you probably know more than I do. I've just seen just random posts about it and stuff. But
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, there's
I
research behind.
mean, what you're suggesting is bang on the money, right? So the beetroot juice is maybe the one that there's mixed evidence on. I mean, Andy Jones is kind of like the guy who figured this out and showed that it can decrease. I don't know if it was decreasing submaximal oxygen consumption, which is what you want. It's like decreasing submax heart rate, right? You have a lower heart rate at any intensity, you're more fit. And then he also showed that you can, he also showed actually that 1% on the treadmill is kind of the gold standard. He's done like a ton of stuff, but he and a guy named David Poole and then a researcher, Jason Allen at University of Virginia, all these guys are not, they're all Europeans. I don't know why they're into beetroot juice, but they kind of are like the pioneers on this, and they push a lot of it, especially for things like heart failure. But when you take mouthwash, it can potentially wash it out. There's even potentially doses that are maybe too high because nitric oxide is what it makes, and that's what we call as a free radical, which is, you can think of it like a hot knife cutting through all your cells like butter, which is not good. So you really want like a delicate balance there. And then with caffeine, it takes about an hour for its half-life to hit, and then bicarbs around, it's actually right around an hour 45. I think an hour 53 is like the paper.
Yeah,
But they've shown in 5-minute milers it can take up to 5 seconds off their mile time. So for you it won't be quite that much, but in an event that is decided by sometimes less than a second, it's like anything like that is going to help. And I hope the NCAA never bans it, because it's like it's not that big a deal. Like you could get it from your food. You can load it over a few days if you want. That's something I don't know if a lot of people do. But like I am all pro bicarb. I'm pro, not necessarily pro all supplements. I think that a lot of times they're maybe detrimental. There's not enough evidence to support them. But I think it's cool to see how we can potentially manipulate biochemistry to help us run faster. Like that's sweet, and it's like a cool little experiment. So that's a pretty good supplement stack. Talk to Henry about his. Get his Super Beats. I think I'm not sponsored by Super Beats. I don't even know what that is, but I think that's what Henry takes.
yeah. I think I've seen him carry the little container around.
That's his freshman punishment. He has to carry Super Beats everywhere he goes.
Yeah,
No, we don't haze. But okay, so last question. I asked this to everybody, and I would love to sit down and talk more. Like, you're so insightful, you're very mature, and I'm excited for this to post this podcast because your dad has like a bunch of, I think it's your dad. He's taken videos of most of your races, and so there's
yeah.
so much content of you that I can pull off. He seems like he's really supportive of you, so that's really awesome.
Oh yeah, he
It sounds like
he loves posting. I mean, he tries to make it to every race he can, which is it's just good. And that's also that's one of the things why I chose Michigan, is just being close to my parents and being able to have them come down, and we have an indoor track that they can come watch meets at, and just being able to have them
yeah,
be at races. And that's why I love racing in North Carolina as well. I have a lot of family in North Carolina, so I get to see kind of my extended family, and
yeah.
you don't get to see basically ever, and they get to come see me run, which is a big thing for me to have them there. So yeah, it's great. I have a lot of support from my family.
Dude, that's awesome. It's so good to hear too. Like, I'm a dad and I just want to be super involved with my kids. I don't know what it'll look like. I'm sure they won't be Olympians like you, but just to be present and be involved, like, that is, being a parent is hard, and there's no book that tells you how to do it.
Yeah.
And so when you see parents like yours that are super engaged and still involved, like, that's awesome. I mean, it's a sign that they really care about you. So I hope you don't have siblings, because they might be jealous. But
Yeah, I do have a sibling who's not a runner, and she they make up for it with, she gets anything she wants. So that's I get all the support and the social media stuff, and she gets
She gets
the
spoiled.
spoiled. Yeah, for sure. It balances out for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. I have an older sister. It was like that too. So the last question here: outside of an Olympic gold medal or a world championship, what would you consider 10 years from now, when you're 30 some years old, would be a crowning achievement of your running career?
I would say, you said 10 years from now?
Yeah, just when your career's over, pretty much.
Um,
I guess I'm being, let's say 20 years. You're gonna run until you're 40.
I hope so. I would just say, like, I know it's simple, but just knowing that I like gave it all I had, and knowing that I did things the right way. I didn't take shortcuts. Like, that's something that's huge to me, and like I hold it like dear to my heart, is just knowing that I'm doing things the right way and doing them for a reason. And just at the end of the day, if I can sit down and say that I did that and I achieved that when I'm all done, it would just make it all like valid for me. It would just make me feel good about what I achieved, and kind of just like intrinsically just know that I did things for a reason. I want to make sure that I just run to my potential, and even further than my potential, if that's possible. Because I don't think a lot of people would have thought I was a 352 guy in high school. So just being where I am now, and hopefully just being even better. That would just, yeah, that would be
Prove the doubters wrong.
great.
I'm gonna share this with you. I've had a few Olympians on the podcast, or soon to be Olympians, and among Isaiah Jewett, Cam Myers, and Hobbs Kessler, they've all said similar things about their career. So know that you are in good company, and that you have already the mindset of an Olympian. Like, you're already thinking the right way about things. And I always like to dribble in research when I can. There's a lot of studies that show that intrinsic motivation is the best type of motivator. And it's not gonna, you're never gonna run well when you're just extrinsically motivated by, I don't want to say never. You're more likely to run well when you're intrinsically motivated by something like that, as opposed to like, I want to run this time, or I want to get this medal, or whatever. If you think about some of the best to do it, they want to give it everything they have. And it's very clear to me that is something that you are very serious about. Man, it's good to hear it. And I want to thank you so much for coming on. Like, obviously you're busy, you got a lot going on, but you are super mature. You're very well spoken. I'm excited to hear whatever sponsor picks you up. Like, it's a matter of time. And, especially to see whatever you're going to go on to do. Like, these podcasts are cool with some young guys like yourself, because I'm like, I mean, there's no reason why this guy's not going to be on a podium one day. Like, he's already on some podiums at his current stage, and
Hopefully many more to come.
No, surely you're putting in the hard work, and your coach is brilliant. He's doing fantastic stuff with you, like both from a applied and scientific perspective. He's on the money, and so just know that, like, just trust that training, because he's got it down, and he's an Olympian himself. So kind of hard not to trust that.
For sure.
Well, thanks again for coming on. It was a pleasure having you. Do you want to leave the listeners with anything?
I mean, I guess just going back to something that we kind of talked about earlier, is just like when like people think that because we're elite athletes or what, we don't get those negative thoughts in our mind in these races. But like, I'm a human. I'm no different than anybody else listening to this, or any other runner out there. I still get those negative thoughts, and you just have to find what works for you, and just what can help you think positively, and kind of turn those like insecure thoughts or negative emotions towards something positive. And you just know that you have to be able to control what you can control, and not worry about what you can't control, because it's going to be there regardless, and you can't really do anything about it. So no reason to dwell on it, and kind of just keep your head forward, keep your eyes forward, just keep moving forward, and keep grinding.
100%. I love to hear it. Well, everyone, I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Check us out wherever you stream your podcasts, whether it's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or any of the other different ones. Leave us a 5-star review, subscribe, and a comment as well. And if you're interested in coaching, you can check out theenduranceLaboratory.com and follow along as Trent McFarland leads Mid-D University, Mid-DU, to some national championships. Thanks for coming on, Trent.
Yep. Thank you.
Yep.